Welcome to Cooking at Our Wits End. I'm Chef Damien. Today we'll be making some fresh pasta. Very simple, relatively easy. Got flour, got semolina flour, a couple eggs, olive oil, salt. That's all you really need. So we're going to need 2 eggs, a cup of and a quarter flour combined. I like to do a combination, so we're going to do approximately 3/4 cup semolina and half cup all-purpose. They didn't have 00. You can use 00 in place of all-purpose if you like. You can do different ratios depending on how robust versus how silky you want your pasta to be. The more AP or 00 you have, the silkier it's going to be. The more semolina, the more robust. I like about 3 to 1 or thereabouts. Alright, today we're going to teach you the well method. Why do we call it that? There you are. Just make a nice little well here in the middle of the flour, someplace for the eggs to go. I've got 3/4 of a cup of semolina, that's the golden one, and half a cup of all-purpose, it's the lighter white one. Now we're going to add a couple pinches of salt here, just like so. That'll incorporate as we work in the egg. Next, we're going to take our eggs and break them into the bowl. I do this to make sure that just in case one of them is bad, we don't waste extra food. It's not very likely that you get a bad egg, but better safe than sorry. Alright, so we're just going to lightly beat these eggs. They don't have to be perfectly emulsified. That can happen in the dough. We'll add a couple tablespoons of olive oil. You can measure with measuring spoons. That'll be easier for most people. Just get that incorporated just like so, right into the well. Now we're going to start gently mixing in the flour from the edges. We're being very careful not to break the edge of the well, just so egg doesn't flow all over the place. So we'll just keep gently mixing this until we form a nice thick batter, or kind of a soft dough, if you like. Okay, we're going to switch over to doing this by hand. It does get a little messy, but that's alright. That's why we have soap and water. Now, if you end up with extra dry flour, just add a little water. Same method, make a well, grab a little water in the egg bowl, just add it right there. Mixing it just like before. Okay, still a little bit dry. So I'm going to make another little well and add another tablespoon or two of cold chilled water. This can happen to anybody. Eggs are different sizes, so don't be discouraged. Okay, just give that a little scrub, get all those pieces up so we can just reincorporate them just like so. Okay, so we're going to wrap this up and let it sit for about half an hour in the refrigerator. That'll give it a chance for all the gluten to react so that when we roll it out, it stays rolled out and doesn't shrink back to about half its size. Alright, so if we let this rest for a good half an hour, that really let the semolina soak up all the moisture. We're going to divide this into two pieces. It's going to be much easier to work with as soon as I get it unwrapped. You can see it's much more evenly moist. There we go. Chuck that portion right back into the plastic. Okay, one of the things we're going to need to do first is make sure the edge of this is nice and thin. If you try to force this through your rollers and it's really thick, just going to stress the dough out, make everything a little difficult to work with. Now as I do this, I make sure that it's not wider than the rollers. Kind of important. It seems very basic, basic concept, but everybody, if they've done this on their own, at some point made it too wide. So something to think about. Okay, a little bench flour, dust each side. Alright, locked, turn it to number 1. Also, have your roller on the lowest setting, the most open. For some, this is number 1. For other machines, this is 0. So start at the widest. So you can see there are some wrinkles and lumps. It means it's a little thick. We're just going to run it through again and let it relax. See? Much smoother now. We'll run it through again. One thing I like to do is move this up a notch. Mine starts at 1, so we'll be moving up to 2. This gets it a little thinner, so when I fold it back up, it's not too thick to run through in the machine. Okay, you can see you've got this loose end here. We'll fold it roughly into thirds. Push the edges back together. Make sure we back this back to 1. Flour. It's kind of hard to see from there, but there are little pock marks in here. As you work with this, it'll get smaller, smoother, and more even. That's what you're looking for. We'll make sure that it's nice and even, the size of the roller. Move down a notch. We just keep moving down the notches until we reach our desired thickness, which is at this point is going to be about 1/8 of an inch thick. Okay, so now we have these all rolled out. I've dusted them liberally with a little bit of the semolina flour. So what we're going to do, we're going to stack them up, making sure we've got a nice coating of semolina between all of them so they don't become one. Fold that guy up. Once, one more flour, once and twice. So you're going to end up losing a little bit. We're going to trim up this edge. We're going to let it go. C'est la vie. La vie. Now I'm going to cut this into strips about 1 thumb's width. Clean up this edge. There we are. And fold these. So what we're going to do now is make some strozzapreti. So I dip my hands in a little water, only because if you don't do that, all the semolina flour will just make everything slip and slide, and you'll be frustrated, and nothing will work. You'll be like, why doesn't this work? Chef Damien is so mean to me. There we go. Roll between the fingers, pinch off, set aside. Water again, work again. Now you want to make this slightly longer than your hand, unless you have small hands, and a little bit longer than that. Mine are about 4.5 to 5 inches across. You want your pasta to be somewhere between 4 and 6 inches. Now as you do this, make sure you give them another toss and some semolina. Okay, so as I go, one important thing, give it a good solid pinch before rolling to give it a good chance of staying together. Then give it a good solid pinch on each end when I separate. Then I've got this little round bit, makes it easier to start the next roll. The goal is to have a little bit of air between. It's not supposed to be one solid thing. There's supposed to be little loose bits, and I'll show you that in a minute. Just tight enough for everything to stay together. And there we are, all ready to cook. I always cook this in plenty of salted water, looking for about half a cup of kosher salt per gallon of water, roughly. You really don't have that much of a chance to get extra seasoning into the pasta. So you can put this in the refrigerator until you're ready for it. If you want to store it more long term, you could freeze it. Now if you're going to freeze your pasta dough, I recommend freezing it as a solid chunk as opposed to individually shaped pastas, just will last better. But if you're going to save it for tomorrow, you should be fine. So there you have the Strozzapreti. Tune in next time to see what we do with these beauties. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Also, let me know if there's anything you want to learn. Thanks for joining. I'll see you next time.